So I wanted to explain something that I'd been trying to figure out for quite a long time. Not being a developer myself, I've been trying to sort of create an interactive music visualizer in Unreal Engine. One of the effects I wanted to achieve was when a certain MIDI note comes in to Unreal, the player controller would move forward, like as in incrementally. So every time a beat gets played, it would move forward by, say, 100 units and then stop again. So after playing around with relative location nodes in Blueprint and a few other techniques that didn't seem to work, I discovered the best way to do it is to use impulses and forces. So I'm going to show you how I did that. It's quite a simple level, this one here. But let's start with this for now, then you can apply this to more complex scenes if you need to. So to start with, let's create a Blueprint class, new actor, call it BP push forward. It's a bit hot here, I've got the fan off so you can hear me properly, so okay. First thing you want to do is add a cube. This can be any mesh that you want to control. Then going into the event graph, if you delete these two, to do some testing, you might want to enable the keyboard so you can just test the output with a number on the keyboard, for example. To do that, you want to create an enable input node. So go to enable input, which is this one here, and then under player controller, go to get player controller. And if everything's set up properly in your project settings, that should enable the keyboard for testing, or debugging as they call it in the developing world. Right. Next thing you need to do is create an actual input. So I'm just going to press 1 on the keyboard, and if you click on this one, that will create the 1 key. That will enable the 1 key. Next you want to go, this is where the physics happens, this is where the movement comes from, add impulse at location, and this will automatically create the force for the cube itself. If you go to pressed in there, so when you press the button, it will enable this node here, it will trigger that node there. Okay, before you do anything else, you need to go to the cube itself, and because we're using forces, we need to enable physics. So if you click simulate physics, then we should have something. All you would need to do is put a number in here. In this case it has to be quite a high number because well, don't ask me why, but forces seem to have a different system to normal units, normal location vectors, whatever you call them. So I'll just do a quick test. It's not going to run exactly how I want it, but it's just to show you where we are so far. So if I press play, press 1, yeah, it's going to fly off in the opposite direction. There's two things we don't want here. Well, in this case that I don't want here. That's for the cube to drop down first, and the other one is there's no kind of inertia or anything, so it's just flying off way too fast. So to switch off the actual dropping down physics, we need to go to constraints under the physics section and go to lock Y, that will lock from left and right, and this Z will lock from up and down. In this case I'm going to lock rotation as well because I don't need the rotation. If this was like a spaceship or some kind of camera even, I would just want it going forward. The next thing you need to do to create that inertia so it slows down how you want it is to go to linear damping and increase that. This will mean that with the damping and the actual high impulse here, it should kind of balance out into something a bit more usable. So let's give it a go, press compile, press play, and jump. So it's still going pretty fast, so let's try and reduce the actual impulse strength there on the x-axis. So trying again. Okay, that's doing something, but it's not stopping. Why is it not stopping? Don't ask me. So let's try linear. Let's push up the linear damping. It takes a bit of tuning here. Just basically keep doing this until it does what you want it to do. There you go. It's stopping this time. Brilliant. So we can even put this up. Even maybe we can put this up higher. Actual strength, and then see what happens. Do what I wanted it to do. Nope, still too high. Well, let's put this up to 5. So basically it's just a case of fine tuning until you get the actual effect that you want. So that's pretty cool. If your camera is attached to there, then yeah, you'll have quite a good effect every time it goes forward. In other tutorials, if I ever get around to it, I'll show you how to map this to a MIDI, well, to Ableton Live actually. So there are ways you can do it, but it takes a lot of, yeah. So anyway, that's how it works. You can add that to any other mesh or environment that you want, and if you can figure out how to get MIDI working with it, then you're going to be on to some next level visuals.